This weekend, the federal government authorized the payments to over 42 million Americans in need of assistance to feed themselves and their families. Now, I'm just kidding. Needy children now have a better chance of meal with Jared than they do with government assistance. Another weekend, another armband closer to Nuremberg for the United States government, as they seemingly aim to solve favorable humanitarian crises abroad while perpetuating their own at home. And let me be clear about one thing right from the jump. This is not a partisan issue. It's not caused by one side or the other, nor do one side or the other suffer more or less. But it also has not been prevented by one side or the other. And all jokes aside, the entire government right now is in the wrong. The Trump administration received the authority this week to force a hold on payments to SNAP recipients, who will now receive only 65% of their essential aid. Now, this is a problem no matter how you slice it up. I mean, how could the government just stand aside idly while people are dying? Well, that's not a great look. I mean, in a sadistic way, this might be the perfect parallel to the government's disinterest with how actual people are feeling. Look at this past week's elections. New Jersey and Virginia both voted blue. California won in their bid to alter voting lines. Another thing known as gerrymandering that I personally am always going to be against. But when you consider the fact that they added potential blue elector votes that equal those the Republicans already changed in Texas, it does seem to be a leveling point that Americans agree with. Then there's New York, a state where the executive branch of the United States directly threatened voters on Election Day, something I would perceive to be virtual electoral interference. President Trump on Truth Social vowed to cancel essential aid across a spectrum of programs benefiting people in need throughout New York City if Zohran Mamdani was elected, which, spoiler alert, he was. Now, he does want to help the very people the current presidential administration is seemingly turning their backs on. And at the end of the day, the city of New York spoke. A city Donald Trump once championed as his own, voted in a direction one can only describe as a polar opposite. Now, speaking to the Trump administration's policies, a campaign once centered on lowering costs and bettering everyday American lives. Unfortunately, we have more on that. You're screwed. The Trump administration, and I am going to say the Trump administration because this is not all Republicans, have already done everything in their power to restrict these benefits, even before the courts let millions of Americans down. Nearly every day, for almost a week, they've changed regulations and restrictions in the guidelines for workers assisting Americans in need. Now they've officially taken 35% of their food assistance, and state judges have been upholding orders to tap into separate funds. States and their courts have been fighting back against the federal government in their overreach, but there simply doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Judges standing up to an endless portal of power get shut down when their superiors need to support them the most. At the end of the day, Americans are being lied to. Plain and simple. Republicans and Democrats disagree. The people suffer. And for those of you who tend to think our show leans too left, Hakeem, you can kiss my ass too. Right now, the bigger issue still lies at home. As prices skyrocket and the once seemingly trustworthy and credible United States wavers from day to day in an uncertain revolving door of chaos, the people spoke this week, and they'll have another opportunity next year at the midterms. What the current administration needs to focus on is not how to win next November, but how every American can win before then. It's not so simple. Liberals and conservatives have disagreed for centuries, and likely always will. But their once central duty is to ensure the American people are taken care of. Right now, it remains to be seen whether either side is up to the task. As always, AT News will keep you updated. This is Colin Moore.
They pretty much a stupid dude. I don't even know if he is. He's good.